What's going on, everyone? It's Jordan with Conquer Trading Investing. Welcome to a new day. Hope you're well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as the case might be. Tomorrow's a big day. Where are we at today? What is today, by the way? Is today Tuesday? Nothing on the calendar. Tomorrow's not a big day. Thursday's a big day. ECB is meeting. That's where my focus is coming to. But before we get there, if you caught the impromptu live stream last night, we talked about what was going on in the markets. We talked about how the equity markets were rallying, all because of Donald Trump. And also Mnuchin meeting with the top bank CEOs today. They're going to meet today at 3 p.m. So probably after the market close. The nation's biggest 7 banks have all been invited. We talked about in that video what happened the last time Mnuchin made that call. That was in December of 2019, December the 21st. And from there, that was the bottom of the markets. And they rallied and made new all-time highs. But there's one problem with all of this, that Donald Trump said that there is going to be a very, very substantial relief, that stimulus was coming. Today, they're saying that that was really just Donald Trump being Donald Trump, that nothing has been passed. It's up to the Senate right now. They're going to meet today. They're just going to discuss some possibilities, some ideas. They're going to meet with Mnuchin and Kudlow. And, but that was really smart of Trump. That's the game Trump plays. He put his adversaries, in this case, the U.S. Senate, in a position where they need to now step up as the markets have rallied, almost 4%. And if they don't step up, they're going to get the blame for it. So that was pretty smart, but still a long way to go. But back to reality also, this morning is a record $216 billion. I don't think we can even comprehend what a billion is anymore from Fed repo. The system looks like it is broken right now. We got some risk on in the markets, but it's more of just a little bit of a relief. Yen is weakened again. That's just a little bit of a relief rally here. Let's take away all of this. Let me find a blue box. All right. Take away that whole big spike. And look, price action is pretty normal with the big down move. Take away all of that moves to where price is just trading right now and yesterday. And you could see that price is kind of priced where you think that it should be, right? This is where price should be. Everything seems appropriately priced right now. The question is, what happens as far as, is the White House going to provide any stimulus measures? When they need to, they will. And what's going to happen with Mnuchin and his Bankly bunch? All right, that's number one. Jesse, Peter, Antonio, Heath, Okie, Blair, what's going on? Great to see you all. Number two, we were talking about earlier in the room today. Listen, there's no magic bullet to trading. All right, there's no buy or sell here at this point and then this or that. Trading takes an enormous amount of dedication, an enormous amount of effort. It takes a lot of hard work. There's no shortcuts. There's no easy way out. There's no magic indicator that's all of a sudden going to make your life so easy. Trading is something that takes an enormous amount of hard work. You have to be ready to learn every day. You have to be willing to put in the effort required. That's what trading's all about, right? I'm going to be very, 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 very clear. I've said it a million times in our live streams. Trading the lower time frames is an extraordinarily difficult way to make a living trading Forex. It is so difficult. Very few could do it. Don't look for action. Look to make money. You will have a much easier time making money by showing that patience, by trading on the higher time frames, and trading with discipline. You have to be willing to put in the effort to do that. It's just not going to come to you. All right. Buenos dias, Himpil. What's going on? Thank you, Peter. Appreciate that very much. So we definitely all are pretty straightforward with our base case. Right now, markets are rallying, even with the report that there's no stimulus coming right away. Whether that's true or fake news, who knows? Markets are trading up near the highs, and you know what? They were just so far blown out. Again, we talked about before the rally yesterday that in bear markets, you see extraordinarily fierce counter trend rallies. This is perhaps one of them. Markets are gapping up pretty huge this morning. Whether or not they could sustain that or it'll be sold off, I don't think it's going to be sold off yet. I'm going to keep my crosshairs in focus, getting ready to position myself back in towards risk off. But President Xi visited Wuhan yesterday. They have claimed mission accomplished. They've defeated the coronavirus. That's pretty big news, if true. And hopefully that's not his moment of mission accomplished, and there's no second wave. If that's the case, then we're going to have to assume, as South Korea has also leveled out, that within a reasonable amount of time, as Trump originally said, and I didn't believe him, April, that the coronavirus is gonna die out. And listen, everyone, be prepared. We're all prepared here. I'm sure of that. Everyone has pretty good OPSEC. Everyone here, I think, has put away some food, supplies, everything they need. So we're prepared. Most of you are already self-isolating. But so we're prepared for the worst, hope for the best. The best is that we start seeing, in a few weeks, the situation in Iran and the situation in Italy start improving, because they're really suffering right now. If that does happen, though, then we're going to start looking towards growth. Now, things are not fixed, right? The system's actually pretty broken. What does that all mean? No one's been here before. We have no idea. We're just trying to, before we get started looking at the charts, we're just trying to kind of just take a moment together and organize our view of what the situation is, what possible scenarios could play out, because it's crucial. So it is quite possible the outlier is the outlier, and maybe the markets are fading this already, but the outlier, this was the bottom, the intermediate bottom, we were calling it yesterday. And it's quite possible that we saw yesterday in a lot of FX capitulation, it seemed like, especially on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, that we've put in some highs and lows for the intermediate turn. That's entirely possible. So just be aware of that when trying to get back in towards some possible trades, because the trend was clear and the trend is clear. All right. Steve, what's going on? Danielle? Nice, taking advantage. Danielle, we saw that US dollar bid off of this relief rally. Abraham, good morning. What is S&P, Oki? Okay. What is S&P? Let's start there. You love the exotics, Peter. So you said it broke support, Peter. When you said you broke support, here's what you're looking at. Let's take a look at this. This is just good for really reviewing TA. There's the support. It pierced through it, but Peter, look at the daily. The daily closed above it. All right. So we always look at the daily to find out if support or resistance has been broken. I use this point over here, Peter, maybe using something different. This area and this area and this area. So that's a pretty good area for support. I see those 4 touches. Price definitely looked to break below, and I would say that it held. I would also draw this line in there because that's relevant right now. So it looks to be bouncing here off support, dollar firming up. And I hope that is definitely helpful. Peter, I think you got a handle on it now. If you want me to send you this chart, let me just go ahead and take a photo. S&P. No, the bigger one. Well, that's the support I got though there, Peter. Send me a, are you looking at this chart, this one up here? Hold on one second. Let's finish. There's another one right there. So if you're looking at that one, which is resistance right above us, and that's where we came into right now. You get above there, you kind of clear to the upside. If you're looking at that level, yeah, we took that out, but that's the top. That was the top area. This one is below it. You can see the one that I drew in here, and you can see the spike down came into that trend line over there. I would say that this held support over here. This is the area that you need to focus in on. And now if you reclaim this resistance, the one that you're focused in on, Peter, you know, I think that it could be smooth sailing to the upside. The dollar could be firming up here. Well, the dollar gets sold off just as quick. Let's see what happens. Let's see what New York does with this today. And I would say we're down about, I would say 1.5% off the highs already. So maybe more. So let's see. It's wild out there. It's wild out there. You got to send the link, Peter. You got to just include the portion from the X on. All right. You like something like this. That's what you have to send. S&P 500 SPY. Yeah. Yeah, it does. Okay. I was this morning when I saw the S&P up and I saw Bitcoin up, I said, I don't like that. I don't like the tight correlation between the S&P and Bitcoin, which is very tight lately. So I was looking at the same thing you're looking at, and I'm going to pull that up just so everyone else can get on the same page as us. So there's the overlay between the S&P and Bitcoin, and you could see that except for Friday, this is Friday right here. I don't have the date, March 26th. I believe that the markets were down huge. Bitcoin was up that day, and then they've been so tightly correlated since. I was looking at the same thing this morning when I saw the S&P was up and Bitcoin was up, and yeah, for sure, it's 100% there in this last couple of weeks. I don't think that the Bitcoin is a risk on or a risk off asset. I don't think so whatsoever. I absolutely firmly believe that Bitcoin is an uncorrelated asset that does its own thing in its own time. But 100% you can see this tight correlation right now, and it's there. So you know why it's there. Let's keep observing it. Great minds. Okay. I was thinking the same exact thing and watching that. Dara, good to see you. Let me pull that up, Peter. It's Jordan, just Jordan. All right, this is, we're going to pull up here. Peter's look. Yeah, great look, Peter. Great look. This trend line that you're looking at is entirely relevant. Price coming back up into that resistance right now. So I not sure. Let me do this. There's more than one things to look at though. I see what you're seeing. Like my system needs a restart. Bear with me, please. So, Peter, you're looking at that trend line. Oh, where did my lines go? Here they are. You're looking at that trend line, horizontal support and resistance. We talk about that in the course. Always have precedent, right? So your trend line over there, I think is important. I wasn't sure how it looked over in this area over here on your chart, which is this, right? That looks a little bit messy. This touch and this touch look beautiful. We get a little bit messy over here, and it does look that we came back right now. If this line is indeed correct, we've come back up into that resistance over there. But at the same time, I think it's helpful to focus in on, first of all, what's going on in front of you. This is the last 3 months. You do have this trend line over here, this lower end of support that price peaked into yesterday, right? And then you have this very relevant horizontal line of support that price definitely closed above yesterday, right? And now you're at this line of resistance, which lines up with your line of resistance. So if you do trade off of there, all right, you know, if you're on the 8-hour, you start making lower lows, by all means, off of resistance here, which I have horizontally, and you have that trend line, take the short. But if you close above here and get above here, you know, this lower trend line support held, you closed above this support. It looks like it's pretty bullish to me over here right now, unless you start making your lower lows and you're rejected by the resistance you have there on your chart. All right, I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about the 216 billion in Fed repo. That doesn't seem right. Highest on record, right? What is the Fed going to do? Are they going to keep just basically monetizing the debt? I suppose so. We don't have no idea what the S&P is going to do here on the opening. Well, we already opened, right? So far on the open, we're trading down a little bit. Let's pull it up before we start looking at some cross pairs, which we're going to do right now. And wow. I just love TA. So back to what's important. That doesn't look good right there, does it? That doesn't look good here on the 15-minute. It looks like that we've broken down, retested, and we're on our way down over here. Let's see if we could get a nice little one more level in here as a little bit of guidance going into this session so that we have something to refer back to. All right. There we are. All right. Yeah, Peter, you did actually say that yesterday, and that was good insight for real. I like the fact that you were even looking at them. You were right. The ranges on the exotics are by far less right now than on the majors. That's for sure. What are we looking at here? This is the pound Japanese yen on the 15-minute, sent over by Hanero. 4-hour resistance over here. It looks like a double touch, taking out that last low. Aggressive entry. This is, we'll call it the Hanero, right? When that first touch is put in and then it takes it out, right, Hanero? This is what I see as the go-to lately. Takes out the last one and then reverses up. This is, I need to mark this up a little bit. Right. What I see on a couple of trades you shared the other day too, Hanero, is you have this burst into an area of supply, You got the resistance right there. Price come in, make a higher high or a lower low if you're on the downside. And then when it reverses, you look for the entry. Now, you had the entry over here. I'm not exactly sure what you were looking for on entry, but just something to put into your head, right? Here we go. Something to put into your head. When you see this happen over here, wait, first give me a confirmation this is what you're looking for. Dean, we'll look at the euro. We'll start with the euro US dollar right now. Like 60 pips is a good trade. 60 pips is a good trade. When you see this happen, Hanero, when you see price make the higher high or the lower low, and if you're trading, you normally are on the 30-minute. I think you're on the 15-minute right now because price is more volatile right now. So you went down to the lower time frame, which we were talking about yesterday. When you see the price make the lower low, and then the first reversal, you see this is a down candle, and then you start making a lower low. Look, explore an entry right there, right there. After you make the higher high, and if the candle reverses, right? Because look at the better entry it could give you. So explore that offline, explore that now while you're trading live. When you go back and you're reviewing your trades and you're looking at it, look at the other trades you were taking yesterday, and see the difference if you wait for that bar to go ahead and take out the high or the low on the downside, and then if it reverses, look for the entry on the first immediate candle. Let's start going through some pairs. In that situation, I believe Hanero had his stop. Hanero, I'm just trying to help you. Correct me if I'm wrong right away. I believe his stop would have been up there. He trades with a very tight stop loss. If he's wrong, he's willing to get out right away. Same thing. If you took this entry over here, Hanero, explore that. The stop would be right there because you know you're wrong. All right. Bitcoin's going to blast up today, and even if the S&P trades down, it's gonna get rid of this correlation, okie just because I want it to not be correlated. Well, before we get into the euro US dollar, just notice that oil is bouncing a little bit. When I say a little bit, it's up 11%. That's ridiculous. But again, look at this with a 30% down move. So it's just retracing a tiny bit. Blair sent over a video. I haven't watched it yet because I just got up. But I'm going to today. As far as oil, if it's good, I'll be sharing it in the newsletter for sure. If it's good, I'm sure it's good. If Blair sent it, that came out wrong. Teamwork, Hanero. But there we go. We got this like thing going, Hanero, where normally we're just like intuitively on the same page. So I was taking liberty where I thought your stop was, but I have a good feel for you. If you're not signed up for the newsletter, go ahead and do that. There's the link. Probably most of you are. Yeah, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, pounds, US dollar, Japanese yen, and we'll start with the euro, Swiss franc. After we do the euro, US dollar, we're going to go in that order as you guys posted them, and then we're gonna start there. So this is just retracing. So the one thing that I just want to keep in mind is the without having the right word, the opposite of my thesis. So I have in my mind, is it possible that yesterday was actually bottoms, and from here things begin looking up? Do I think that's happening? No. Is that a possibility? Yes. There we go. So oil, we're looking to sell rallies. Saudi's not playing games, right? let's go in order from everything you guys posted. We're going to start with the euro US dollar. From there, we're going to look at the euro Swiss franc, and then we're going to go down in order looking at those pairs Jesse provided. But just we'll look at the daily right now on the euro US dollar, and this is unbelievable. This is just completely unbelievable, and it happened, right? And here we are. And so we have Thursday, the ECB is meeting, you know. So here's something that a scenario that I've been running through my mind is what happens if Trump's relief rally sticks? What happens if the ECB comes in strong and eases? And then what happens if next week the Federal Reserve doesn't cut or cuts 25 basis points and disappoints the markets, which is expecting a 50 or more? That's a situation that could happen, and whether it's the base case or not is too soon, because they would have to mean that the markets continue rallying. If the markets continue rallying up until the Fed meets next week, I think the Fed might not go ahead and ease unless they have no choice because things are broken. But this is a scenario I'm running through my mind, and if that's what happens, the dollar is absolutely mispriced right now, and you're going to see a large snapback the other way. Either way, right now, this is not so much about the euro US dollar. This is more about the equity markets, and we looked okay how tightly correlated the S&P was to the Bitcoin over the last recent while, but not as much and not as strongly as it is to the euro US dollar, which has just been tracking amazingly. So you're seeing that relief right now coming in the S&P. You're seeing it here on the euro US dollar, the dollar firming up a little bit. This is going to continue for as long as the markets hold. It's a big day. I think my base case is that until they meet, markets rally on hope. We'll see what happens after hours. We'll see if it's good enough for the markets or it's sell the news. But watch the equity markets to get a handle on what's happening with the euro US dollar and the dollar overall. And ECB is meeting on Thursday. They could disappoint also. If they disappoint on Thursday, then the euro is going to be bid. But I think the ball's in their court to come in pretty hard. So that's the euro US dollar. Panero, thank you for sharing. Thank you for your help. Hope you have a great day for sure. So euro Swiss franc remains, stay away from it. Why? Swiss central bank is intervening down here. Euro has been bombastically strong and hasn't made a move against the Swiss franc. Why is that? Even to the upside, Swiss franc's even stronger, right? Stay away from this, because if the Swiss bank all of a sudden gives up, this thing could just implode to the downside, as we've seen happen before with this pair and with the Swiss central bank when they're intervening. The upside here is not so strong. The potential upside is not so strong. If the economy starts recovering, euro will probably get sold, will be used as a funding currency again, whether it's to directly invest in US equities or the carry trade versus the dollar or any other pairs. And if things don't, then the Swiss franc is going to remain in a power position. It makes no sense to be involved in this pair at all. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Last I looked, the New Zealand dollar had broken down. Let's see if that's continuing or not. It is continuing here. You can see this blue box, this resistance. We started breaking down out of here. It still looks pretty sideways overall, though. And I'm not tracking it. Are we breaking down further to the downside? It definitely appears so. How much further down can we go? We got some definitely a big move in us. It's possible. Um, but that's where my bias got in the way. I was looking for a possible bottom in here and a move to the upside. This resistance has continued to hold. Um, Overall, though, I would say it's jumpy. Look what happened yesterday. This is all New Zealand dollar pairs yesterday, all Australian dollar pairs yesterday. It's too jumpy. That's why Peter was focused in on the exotics. Could you believe the exotics are trading more true right now? I would stay away. Pound, US dollar, and then we'll check out the US dollar, Japanese yen in that order after this 30-second pause. Sorry about that, a little bit longer than expected, but necessary. Um, so what would it? We're going to look at the pound, US dollar, Japanese yen, euro CAD. We'll look at all those pairs definitely inputted, but what would a disappointing ECB look like? Um, I don't have the link here. That's a good thing to talk about in the newsletter. I'm going to address that today. I have the link of possible scenarios that would talk about what a there's no way. When I say disappoint, they're going to act. They're going to act. It's just a question if they come in and maybe even cut the rate a little bit, and not much more, or if they come in with a bazooka and really act. Um, so I think right now, I don't think they're going to disappoint. I sincerely don't think they're going to disappoint, but we will look at, and I'll include that in the newsletter today, what a disappointment would be, and then what that could mean for the euro. And let's also remember here, the euro is right now tightly correlated to what's going on here with the S&P. And I think that's the biggest driver right now. You see the dollar firming up today, and then here we are on the pound US dollar, and we're just seeing the dollar firm up. So I'm looking up here, right? We should have another resistance line up there for sure. My charts aren't clean because of the huge moves we've seen. So apologize for that because it's hard to get a quick glance and look at what's going on. We just need to add in one more resistance level, but it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear that we've came into this resistance over here now. Again, I believe there's the distinct possibility that across all pairs and all instruments that yesterday we put in some intermediate term tops and bottoms. This is what the price action is looking like here with this long extended body and then long wick, and now trading down, making lower lows today. Right? I mean, it looks like the dollar's in the driver's seat for at least right now. Let's see what happens as we come back down in to this area between these two supports and whether or not that holds. Um, but I would have to say it's probably more neutral than anything right now. Neutral. It's down 0.5%, but look what the action is definitely in the yen pairs, which are weakening after their extreme strength. We should look at also the Swiss franc pairs. I think if we get about a risk off, the Swiss franc might be the play over the yen, Nick. But we'll definitely look at that as well later today because I need to have the data in front of me. US dollar, Japanese yen, interesting. We looked at the support that was drawn in there ahead of time yesterday. That's where we ended up bouncing to. You could see that we're coming into this area of resistance. All right, here's a little bit of area resistance. So far, price is stabilizing over there. Equity markets are now up 3.5%. So again, let's just do for an exercise, remove all of, from where price is as a market right now, remove all of that action from yesterday, and then price is kind of where it should appropriately be priced if this was a normal day, right? Back to normal ranges. So all that we saw yesterday was at the end of the day, a lot of people capitulating and then price coming back into an area where it's more reasonable. So where does that leave us right now? I think right now, obviously what's driving the market is what we started the live stream off with. It's what's going on right out of the White House today. How long could this rally last? I have no idea. It could be an intermediate term bottom. We could watch for signs if it being faded, but right now it looks pretty strong. I think that you got to go with the momentum, especially with these large ranges that we're seeing. And right now we're seeing a little bit of yen weakness. I don't think it's the time to step in yet on the US dollar, Japanese yen. Where is a good area? I'm going to draw in a resistance line in an area that if price came up to it, I would have to say, okay, now we should really be looking at possibly taking our Alamo. And it's much higher than we are right now, right? We're kind of in no man's land right now. This is the resistance. This is the support. You have this little bit of local tiny resistance right now. Price peaked at today, but we're in no man's land. It's a big range, and there's not much of an edge. Listen, we spoke about it earlier. If you really want to win at this game, you gotta really show that patience and discipline and pick your setups. It's not so much about trading as it is about when to trade. And once you get that, you're going to see a huge difference. If you throw on trades to every day to be in a trade, this is, you have a long road ahead of you. So the one of the quickest things you could do to fix that is to focus in on that, understand that, and work on that. If you sincerely are putting on a trade every day to be in a trade, you're not on the right path at this moment. You need to really correct that. So that being said, there's a ton of opportunity out there in these markets. Euro, Canadian dollar. Well, this is interesting. So, and back to Blair, there's two videos I need to include. I didn't get a chance to see. Yesterday was a just kind of an off day. He sent the video about the Canadian economy. I don't know why I have an alert there. That's funny. He sent the video about the Canadian economy, why not only the price of oil, which the price of oil we're expecting to remain low. Again, we're in the midst of a war. Saudi Arabia has fired shots. They're serious. The U.S. So the Canadian dollar we expect to be weak. This is are we looking for a strong euro? It's too soon to tell. Is the euro going to be stronger than the Canadian dollar? Probably, right? What does that mean? Is this an uptrend? We're at the top right of the chart. So are we looking to buy any dips into support? Yes. Was this one? I don't know. It's a little fuzzy the way it trades. I would be on euro pairs right now, outside of maybe we'll look at the euro Japanese yen next because I'm not sure. Euro US dollar, attempting a short there with the dollar firming up here and also the ECB getting ready to act. Okay. Maybe it's better to wait a little over here on this type of cross to wait what happens with the ECB. And if we get any type of sell-off in this pair and come down to a really attractive support, that might be an area of interest. If we get a spike down into there. But overall, and here's another thing. I think most people would have a lot more success if they focused in on a really bigger time frame, right? Now, the ideal time frame for a swing trader is between 1 and 5 days. But if you're saying to yourself, which of these is going to be a higher from a month from now, or 2 months from now, or 3 months from now, I would say the euro is going to be trading higher than the Canadian dollar because of the situation going on with Canada right now, right? I would gather. And taking a position with that type of perspective and time frame might help a lot of you who are constantly getting whipped around, right? Chasing momentum. So that's the euro Canadian dollar. Jesse, we looked at where those take profits should have been. They hit the areas that we looked at the way they should have been. I know they were so far away at the time, but we saw it. I didn't hold long enough. Um, even though they were my best trades of the year as far as profit and pips, they were also my most disappointing. So that's a sore subject. Everything is choppy today. It's hard to say where the euro US dollar is going to go. I think it's really dependent on the equity markets right now, and I think it's also dependent on what the ECB does. Is there a good chance it goes back down towards 1.12? There's a strong chance it goes down there, at least. Absolutely. All right. All right. So just a little check in mentally for me. We're up towards 3.8% on the day. That looks pretty good. This is why the euro is trading towards the bottom of the range. Um, Oil is now trading up. That might be one of the best possible trades to get into. Short oil or use the Canadian dollar as a barometer. I wanted to check the euro versus the Japanese yen. What I'm looking for here is ECB action. Hopefully they act. Euro trading stronger than the yen, coming into an area right now of resistance. We got to change all of these when we get the chance. All right, nothing interesting enough that I want to get involved over. Over here it was, and we looked at it. All right, there were better opportunities though, that's for sure. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. This is one that has come off, is up 2.2% today. You know, how far of a retrace is it possible to get? I'm going to extend this trend line. This is this trend line over here. I'm going to extend it so that if we come back into it over there, that might be the best thing to lean into. Or that opportunity might have already passed us. And then we have horizontal. Oh, look at that, in the same area. I love when the horizontal and the trend lines line up. All right. So no man's land. No man's land, which seems to be a lot of the Japanese yen pairs. And so this is really good. And Heath just mentioned a lot is choppy right now. Again, markets probably are focused on later today. I don't think we'll get any word into what happens until after hours. And until after hours. And I'm expecting the markets to hold the gains until then. If they're going to sell the news, it'll be after whatever resolution, if any, is reported. But again, don't sleep on this guy. This guy has got the power in his phone, right? He's meeting with the 7 biggest banks, right? These guys are going to do whatever they can to do what they need to do. So don't sleep on them. They've shown what they can do in the past. So right now, I think you want to be following the momentum of today's session and looking to buy any pullbacks towards this direction. Yeah, that's we looked at earlier this morning. That's why Trump is a master, because he set off this whole rally yesterday. He put the position into the Senate. Now they have to deliver. If they don't deliver, they're the ones who are going to get blamed for for the market selling off. So he put a lot of pressure on them to come through. So they have a lot to talk about today. Mnuchin and Kudlow are meeting with the Republicans on the Hill today, and they're going to talk about some ideas of what is possible. There's nothing actually happening, but Trump did make a very smart move by putting the pressure on them now to deliver, because the markets rallied off of it, and they're continuing to do so. They traded off the highs a little bit when the news came in. Now, nope. There's not. I mean, manipulation is really the name of the game when it comes to markets, right? So it's just a question of us positioning ourselves and trading along with the manipulation, right? Now, there's a difference between funny and illegal behavior. Um, Gold today, by the way, down on that stronger, firmer dollar. Goes down 1.5%. I need to look at a daily here. Coming back down into our range. It looks super healthy still. Um, Remember this day, and what I remember on this day was that price was trading down here and gold was getting clobbered. I was remembering 2008, and I was remembering gold getting wrecked. All right, don't think that that doesn't have an influence on traders. And had I been a better trader, I'd have been looking to lean it off of here. But I was spooked and I was scared. Right now, we're back down here and we are consolidating nicely towards the top of the range overall. And I was looking at this pair yesterday. Gold is definitely, you can see gold under pressure today. But overall, if you ask me where this is going to be, gold versus the euro, 3, 6, 12 months from now, I mean, I'm guessing that gold is going to be much higher than the euro. Martin, I want to take a back a look at the you were talking about the euro, Japanese yen, and again, this is a tough one. Yen is definitely weak for good reason. Yen is just weak because it's just retracing some of its enormous moves of strength. Not really a big deal. Break support and retest back. So it came into that resistance over here, Martin. I don't know. It's so jumpy and spiky around all of this. I think this whole area is an area of supply. So just let me draw it in really quick. It's not just that one resistance. This is a whole area of supply we spiked into over here. See that better there. And so far we're being rejected. What I like about that is, again, the ECB is getting ready to act over here. I would not, and I'm not even remotely close to interested in chasing it now that it's bounced off there so far. But there's the possibility that we get another peak towards there. Maybe it's a question of like really stalking your trades. The more patience you show, the better your thing. Drawing this little trend line over here, if this continues to hold and then you got to break down, that could be a nice place to look for the short. Right now, though, again, you're in no man's land in a lot of places. This is why that Blair, I'm a big advocate of Bitcoin. It really takes away a lot of this. It would end a lot of wars. You would not have this whole petrodollar dynamic and all this suffering in the Middle East to protect that petrodollar. Is Saudi taking that apart right now by going after U.S. shale? Maybe, but Bitcoin is the system of peace, I think. Bitcoin having trouble so far in this area of local resistance. I have that marked as support. It's resistance right now, and it's not yet cleared it today. What else can we look at? Let's take a look at some other yen pairs. Let's start with the pound Japanese yen. Then we'll look at the Australian dollar Japanese yen. So all these greens, obviously, you guys can tell right now that there are supports. I think we're in no man's land again, everywhere. Kind of focusing in on Thursday on the ECB. I'm focused on this afternoon if we see the futures, the US futures sell the news here today, um, at that point, if you see the futures start selling, that might be the first sign of these moves being reversed. We maybe start getting long the Japanese yen again. If not, hopefully these float up even higher. But right now, we're in no man's land. Australian dollar, Japanese yen, and the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen is up 1.7 again. We're just in no man's land again. Take away from where the price is right now and all the way down, and all of a sudden the range has become reasonable. But you gotta understand that there are some large ranges in play. Canadian dollar up 2% versus the Japanese yen, right? I think it's too soon to start selling these things. I Again, this could be a intermediate term bottom. It could be a little while before we trade down there. Uh, but there's no question we could see risk off enter the market again. So, a lot of people are not comfortable with the idea of exercising patience. Jesse, I really see from what your comments and you were riding over the past couple of weeks. You were riding some really good and strong trades, especially versus the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. And now I'm just pointing this out because this is the really solid mindset, and now you're like, no, I'm just waiting, right? And this is really great behavior, right? First of all, riding the positions when the market was right, and now waiting. Things are like very just, Heath called it choppy. I'm looking at it like uncertain. No man's land is where I see things right now. And let me turn off these alerts, please. There we go. And I see it as we're just in no man's land, and there's a lot of movement today, especially I'd be if you're short time frame minded, fading the yen, right? Euro US dollar short, I like all of those things. But it's not a time of attacking. I'll get rid of these things. Nah, you guys are the best. That's for certain. Yeah, Bitcoin is looking a little bit precarious, but here's the thing, and this is really the thing. First of all, everyone that follows this channel knows where we are in the 4-year cycle, right? We're about 50 days away from the halving. It's extraordinarily bullish as far as Bitcoin and its cycle. Most people over here, as we enter towards, this is where people get really bullish as we're towards the resistance. And this is where people get really bearish. If you remember the last time we were down here, if you remember, price was trading at 7,500. I put out a video. Hey, I'm going on the record. 6,500 will be the lowest we see. People were calling for 1,000 Bitcoin, 5,000 Bitcoin, 3,000 Bitcoin, right? That wound up being the low. We traded up. Everyone got bullish over here, but we're towards the resistance over here, right? And now we're back down towards the support, and everyone is super bearish again. So, I bought Bitcoin yesterday, and if we break down over here, if we break down, I'm definitely going to get out, and I'm going to take a look at 65. The $800 over here. I'm definitely looking to protect, but this was an area coming down into the support that's where you want to buy Bitcoin. If this area does hold, and if we trade over the next 50 days upwards, and then as the halving comes, and then we break, this could be the lowest Bitcoin we see. This could be the lowest Bitcoin we see ever again. That's the way I'm looking at it. That's the way I'm trading it. So, yeah, I know sentiment is really fearful and bearish right now, but we're at an area of support, buy off supports until supports break, right? Mima, what's going on? Mark, you're looking at the pound Japanese yen, 4 hour. Let's pull it up. So on the 4 hour, by the way, good time frame to be trading these days. Spoke about that yesterday. I really think the 4 hour is a good time frame with these type of moves to be focused in on. Again, 2008, the fall of 2008, the 4 hour for a couple of months was more profitable than the 8 hour. The 8 hour was extraordinarily profitable during that time, the most profitable it's ever been in my entire life. But the 4 hour outperformed it. I traded both every single period back then. Can you imagine that when dedication, waking up every 4 hours throughout the night for those 2 or 3 months um, to be a part of those signal periods. Right over here, Mark, clearly we came into that resistance, and so far it's being rejected. I think you're in no man's land. You have the support down here, resistance over here. Um, I'm not looking to fade any Japanese yen moves yet. I think it's too early, but that's just my gut instinct. I'd rather just wait. Anyone, if you took that, Mark, it's so clear and it's a good trade. Scalping. I mean, there it is. It's clear and it's good. It's clear and it's good. But watch it. There you go, Mark. This will be very helpful. That would be, I think, an area for to look to take profit. What is that? It's around the 134.90 area. All right. It's going to be a interesting day. The things on my mind, the things that I'm focusing on. Hey, what's up, Muchin? Is definitely this guy, right? He's meeting with the seven biggest banks, the CEOs today. These guys, they got the networks. They're doing whatever they can to go ahead and save their businesses. The last time he stepped in, it was explosive. You all know, we talked about it last night in the live stream. It was December the 21st in 2019. There it is right here. This is where he made that call. And then the markets did a V-shaped recovery. Who expected that? And then went on to rally to new all-time highs. And now they're getting crushed. Here he is again on the call. What's going to happen? Let's see. He's got extraordinary circumstances this time that were not present there before. Fed record 216 billion repo overnight. Something is not right. Something is not right. This is beyond few people's comprehension. The experts of experts are like, I don't fully understand it. All right. So we're looking here today as Mnuchin and Kudlow meet with the Senate Republicans, floating some ideas for stimulus. Nothing is going to be announced. Nothing is going to be announced today, and that's good. You know why that's good? Because Trump is fighting for a re-election, and he's keeping some ammo in the gun, in case he needs it. He's going to come in with payroll tax cuts. He's going to come in with towards the election. He's going to come in with a tax cut for the middle class, and then he's keeping this alive and ready as well if it's needed. But right now, he's got Mnuchin on the job with the bankers. Markets are they're off their lows, right? Yeah. Listen, markets are manipulated. Markets are proven to be eliminated. Someone brought up the gold market, the silver market was. It's absolutely proven. All of these markets are manipulated, and it's just a question of you trading within the markets to be able to trade around the manipulation. There's a whole nother thing than if your broker's trading against you. That if the broker is spiking price to take out stops, that's not that. There's no way you should trade under those circumstances. That's in a completely different animal. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is our markets being manipulated. That's part of the game. That's what markets are. Players all have their self-interest, and they're trying to manipulate that market in their favor. There you go. Well put. Well put, Liberty. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. I saw. So this was up. Wait, I have to just put my eyes on oil first of all. Okay, so oil's up about 12%. It was up about 13.5% a little while ago. Either which way, Canadian dollar is taking back some of these enormous large sell-offs again with all of these pairs, whether it's the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, or Japanese yen. Look where market price is now. Take away yesterday's price action, right? And you can see even here, appropriately so, oil's gotten crushed. Canadian dollar is trading down versus the Japanese yen. Uh, Overall, we're very bearish on the Canadian dollar, but at these levels right here, you're kind of in no man's land, right? And this could go either way at the moment. So there's no edge there at all. If you ask me, it's a question of waiting, waiting, and waiting. And then if we get lucky, and if the Canadian dollar comes up to an area where it starts to look attractive, just so we have an idea of where that might be, it's this line. I thought I extended it. When I go back and forth between charts, things happen. This line over here becomes a nice area for us to lean into if we get the opportunity. And then we got horizontal resistance also. So let's draw that in. And they coincide with each other, you know. So if we get a look into this area over here, then we want to, take our chances. Right now, you're in no man's land. All right. So I mean, look at these moves. They're just enormous. So consider, if the equities roll over here today before any type of communication from the White House, that I will be surprised. I will be caught off guard. I'll be surprised. I think that we're going to see the earliest they'll sell off, I do believe, will be after an announcement's made. If they don't sell off, that's really bullish, and that this current little bit of rally is going to have a little bit of legs in it. Again, things that could happen is the Fed comes in next week and disappoints. If they disappoints, if the Feds don't come in and cut so much, that could be uber bullish for the markets. All of a sudden, the U.S. equities may be like, wait, things aren't as bad as we thought. They could start rallying, and then you could see also the dollar really getting repriced. Right now, it's priced to, the yields are so low that could come in and snap back. Um, and again, we're seeing some positive signs. And you all know how paranoid I am about the virus, but we're seeing some good signs. And although I expect things to get worse in the United States right now, that the United States seems to be kind of shading the numbers, right? They don't seem to be, really too keen on testing and reporting. So it's fuzzy. All right. So two things. It's going to be a short session unless anyone wants to look at something in particular, because we've covered it very well. And also there's a good chance that, again, as we did last night, that we're going to do another live stream around the same time, uh, you know, during Asia, and be able to process what is happening, because right now things are moving fast in the markets, and we want to process what happened, the events out of the White House today later on. Um, so if anyone wants to look at anything right now, the board is yours. Otherwise, we will get back together with each other later in the day. All right, I'm going to include. No, I mean, so I mean, Liberty. First of all, I really enjoy trading views charts. I do all of my work, all my analysis on TradingView, and I place all of my trades on MetaTrader 4. Um, but as far as, which broker, there are so many good brokers in foreign exchange. There are so many good options. You want to trade with someone that has obviously the most competitive spreads that fits your situation, right? Uh, that that's that's one edge that you need to take, and that's one that you have control of right away. So long as you're trading with a broker that's offering, highly competitive fees, and obviously has a good reputation, make sure that, no one's ever had problems with any withdrawals, things like that. But aside from that, you want good customer service. There's a lot of options available when it comes to foreign exchange brokers. Yeah, we got a double New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Let me pull her up. Dollar's firm today. I think the best thing to do is remove this spike from your mind. Right? So when price was up here yesterday, I thought price was going to close right around here at the closest support level. It closed a little lower. It closed at the support level lower. But more or less, that's what was expected. So if you look at it right now, this resistance is holding. This is this resistance is holding, and price is coming off of it. You know, um, dollar's firming up a little bit. It all makes sense, and you know, actually, this looks like one of the better opportunities. I haven't looked at the Australian dollar. This spike here to the upside also. I kind of, if I had an eraser, I would erase this and I'd erase this. And then if you're able to visualize, erase this. Yeah. Right. And then focus in on price action, and you get a little bit better of a read. You can see over here too, we have, we have an inside bar over here, uh, 2 in a row. So that's an easy way to play this, right? Wait for the break. Wait for the break. It'll give you a clearer direction, but That's the best way to look at this pair right now. What's going on? I need to restart my computer. Obviously, I'll do that before later today's live session. Second update of the day. But you can see this is what's happening over here. That gives you a kind of an edge for the next move. Definitely focus in off of this resistance right over here. Price looks like it's being rejected down off there right now. Dollar looks like it's firming up a little bit. It's been coming off of some extreme oversold levels. So Australian dollar, US dollar at the same time. Same thing, rejected off the resistance yesterday. And so, I mean, now you're in an area of local support. You're kind of in no man's land, especially more so on the Australian dollar, US dollar. There you go, Gabe. There you go, Gabe. I like it. Gabe, when something's so clear that you're like, here it is. All right. That's when I want you to jump in. That's when I want you to jump in. All right. Do not, if you're placing a trade because you feel like you need to have a trade on, you're doing this wrong. You are doing this wrong. If you get to the computer and you place a trade so that you have a trade to track, you're doing this wrong. Australian dollar, US dollar is, you see this is the resistance, right? We're in the, right over here. Price yesterday traded up into that resistance and so far has been rejected by it. But that puts us in an area where you're too far now to sell, right? And this is why we're talking about the 4 hour is a time frame to really focus in on right now. Here was the spike, rejected. Here's a much better entry. Right now, you're nursing that trade, but you're in no man's land. I would say down here is the area of support. Resistance above, support down here. You're in no man's land. You're directly between them both. So there's no trade. Bigger picture, downtrend, traded up into the resistance. We sell resistances and downtrends. Rejected, but now here's the support, here's the resistance. You're directly in between. All right, everyone. So I appreciate all those who enjoyed our little session today and went ahead and smashed that like button, because you know what, that does help the Google algorithm. And for whatever reason, Google does not like this content in this channel because we hardly get any views, but that doesn't matter because we have the best community in here, 100% hands down. So it's all good and it's all great. Blair, I don't know if you're here. Do not stop sending me those things. Definitely enjoy them and appreciate them very much. And yeah, man, Mark, I'm gonna be on later. Yeah, liberty and trust. I'm gonna just affirm what you're saying here because it's so. I think that comes from Graham Stephan, or at least where I got it from. And if you have not seen any of Graham's videos on YouTube, Graham is the master of YouTube and has totally crushed YouTube. He's the master. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. Going back to what you said though, Liberty, the least amount of trades, less amount of trades is better than lots of trades. Quality trades over clicking that button all day. That's, if you want to be profitable, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. I'm going to keep ingraining it. I'm going to keep focusing there. I have to actually step up the game on my side to focus in on things that are the most important, to continually be reinforcing in everyone, to continue to bring up everyone's game, which has been spot on. Either which way, you guys are great. Have an awesome day. I hope anyone that could join us tonight will join us. and I'll alert through the Telegram when I go on. It'll be around the same time as yesterday after those kids get to bed. All right, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.